This assembly is written, performed and edited by P7B. We hope you enjoy the show and learn a lot about Victorians.
Queen Victoria ruled the British Empire.
An empire was a group of countries ruled over by a single monarch or government. The British Empire was made up of Britain and its colonies, which is countries ruled by and from Britain.
The British Empire has its origins in the 16th century during the reign of Queen Elizabeth. The first, by 1783, Britain had built a large empire with colonies in America and the West Indies. The years 1815 to 1914 are referred to as Britain's imperial century.
The British Empire was the greatest empire the world has ever seen, and for more than a century Britain was the foremost global power, ruling over a quarter of the world area and population, over 450 million people. Countries that were part of the empire are coloured red, as you can see from the map. Countries such as India, Australia and parts of Africa were ruled by Britain.
Many British people at the time took great pride in the British Empire and their power. However, this was not shared by the people of the colonised lands. Many people living in British colonies faced political and economic inequality and the decline of lack of their culture and religion.
After the World War I, it became increasingly difficult for Britain to hold on to the empire. It became clear that Britain could no longer afford an empire. Britain had no right to rule people who did not want ruled by Britain. Britain realized that the Royal Navy was not strong enough to protect the empire.
Our class novel is currently Street Child by Barley Doherty.
A young boy named Jim Jarvis is the main character. Jim Jarvis is a runaway. When his mother dies, he finds himself all alone in the workhouse and desperate to escape.
Just when things are looking up for Jim, he's snatched away to work for Grimy Nick and his vicious dog Snipe, moving coal from the big ships to the mainland.
He escaped to the streets of London. However, Victorian London is a dangerous place, and every day is a battle for survival. We wonder, will Jim ever be free?
Feature Chapter 13. The Lily. After being pulled from his slumber, a man only identified as Nick is forced to tirelessly walk until they reach a ramshackle old boat called the Lily.
I'm Grimy Nick. I'm the bad guy. I use a child as my slave.
I'm Jim Jarvis. I work for Nick. I'm the main character of the book.
I'm Snipe the dog. Nick is my owner.
Get on! Snipe, sniff. Now he's smelt you, he'll never forget you. Never. See? You know you belong on here now.
Yes.
And that means if you try to run away, he'll eat you alive. Chase after you. Faster you go, faster he goes. So you better not try. Just give him a little taste of you now. Snipe, bite. Leave. He's quite friendly, see? Just so long as you're friendly to me. Well, in that case, we'll get on just fine.
Kent Brockman takes a look back in time with his special guest Ben Franklin in today's episode of Future News.
Hi, I'm your host, Kent Brockman, and welcome to Future News. Future News, Future News, Future News! Today we're looking back at Victorian times where we will meet Benjamin Franklin. My big, brilliant, best-haired, bald-headed, bad boy, buddy, Benny boy, Benjamin, Franco, Frankie, Frank, and Funtime Franklin. Good diggly dog, what is happening here? I'm Ken Brockman, host of Future News, bringing the past to the present. And I'm here to interview you, Benny boy. So when and where were you born? 17th January, 1706, Milk Street, Boston, Massachusetts, United States. Why am I telling you this? When and where did you die? 17th of April, 1790, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, United States. Wait, how do I know this? Tell us about your family. Well, siblings, James Franklin, Josiah Franklin Jr., Ebenezer Franklin, Jane Franklin Meckham, Elizabeth Dowse, Thomas Franklin, Joseph Franklin the First, Mary Holmes, Lydia Scott, Samuel Franklin, Hannah Cole, Annie Harris, John Franklin, Joseph Franklin II, Sarah Davenport, and Peter Franklin. Children, William Franklin, Francis Folger Franklin, and Sarah Franklin Bash. And my lovely wife, Deborah Reed. She's a wonderful writer. So you're an inventor. What did you invent? Well, where to start? Bifocals, the Franklin stove. Such a coincidence the Franklin stove has your second name in it, Benny boy. Lightning rod. I created that to stop lightning from damaging buildings. The glass harmonica. And finally, the odometer, to determine the circumference of the wheel and the number of revolutions required to travel a mile, and have the dial register the distance traveled. Okay then. Have you had time to do anything else? Well, I was part of the committee that wrote the Declaration of Independence. I campaigned to end slavery. I was a successful writer and an American author, writer, scientist, inventor, statesman, diplomat, printer, publisher, and political philosopher. Well, I just meant, what's your favorite movie, or what do you do in your free time? Right. A good cup of tea hits the spot. So do you have any other stories to tell? Well, actually, once I really loved school, until my family. They got more poor by the minute, and... Well, that's all, folks. Hope you learned a lot, 'cause I sure didn't. Future news, future news, future news!
In 1870, schools were opened for ages 5 to 10. In Scotland, schools were paid for by the Church of Scotland. It had been open for many years, but children who were poor usually had to work to help with their families, so often didn't go to school. Children from rich families usually got educated at home.
In 1872, the Education Scotland Act said that all children aged 5 to 13 years must attend school and have a basic education.
Classes in Victorian times were sometimes very large, with 40, 70 or even 100 pupils. The school day started at 9 a.m. to 12 noon. There were no school lunches, therefore children had to go home for their lunch. Afternoon classes started from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m.
The classroom in Victorian times was sometimes known as the schoolroom. In the schoolroom, the pupils sat at desks in rows facing the front. The schoolroom was a plain room with nothing on the walls other than a map.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, Mrs. Pickle.
Boys to the right, girls to the left, hurry up. Then from some arithmetic, tell me, Travis, if 6 boys take 3 apples, how many apples have been taken?
I don't know, miss, but I reckon they should have taken any.
You've just earned yourself 5 minutes of the dunce's cap, you idiotic child.
A workhouse was a used building built for very poor people to live and work. They were poor for a number of reasons: ill health, old age, single mothers, orphan children, or purely because they couldn't find work. Unemployed people had no choice but to enter the workhouse. The alternative was prison.
Work was hard in the workhouse. Men had to complete jobs such as working in fields, grinding corn with heavy millstones, and chopping wood. Women had to complete domestic jobs such as kitchen duties, laundry, sewing, weaving, and scrubbing floors.
Uniforms had to be worn in the workhouse. These were made by dark, coarse materials. They were designed to be uncomfortable.
Food largely consisted of bread, cheese, broth, and meat varying occasionally. Breakfast was a thin porridge on grill. Life in the workhouse was harsh. Usually those who went in never left. On the 1st of April 1930, workhouse officially came to an end. The National Health Service began soon after, so everybody, rich or poor, had access to health care. Many workhouses were used for hospital buildings and care homes.
Oh, enjoy the next clip of The Workhouse, starring Jay, Craig, Tama, and myself, Lachlan.
This food is disgusting. No taste, no salt, no flavour.
What did you say about my food?
Nothing.
This is terrible.
I'm sorry, sir.
Hold out your hand.
This is hard work, sir. Please give us easy stuff.
Get down!
I don't get paid enough for this.
Complaining, huh?
No.
Hold out your hand.
Queen Victoria became queen when King George IV died in June 1837. Queen Victoria married Albert in 1840, and in 1841 they had their first daughter, which was also named Victoria.
Queen Victoria was born in 1898 and died in 1901. Queen Victoria is probably one of the most famous queens of all. She was a ruler of a huge kingdom. She is so famous that the Victorian era is named after.
I am your amazing Queen Vicky, bringing you my amazing exercise routine. It's not easy staying in shape when you're a busy woman. I don't. Let me show you how. Sit and rule and sit and rule and sit and rule and sit and rule and wait for it. Rule some more.
That's right. Just sit and rule like Queen Victoria done for 63 years.
In 1861, Albert, Queen Victoria's husband, died at the age of only 42. The Queen was so sad that she did not go out and see people. She wore black clothes for the rest of her life as a sign of mourning.
Now exercise those arms and more and more and more and more. Now for some dips.
Look out, man, it's an assassin.
And dip and dip and dip and dip. Next again.
That's right, Queen Victoria survived 7 assassinations as her region as queen.
Not a body that only looks good in black satin dresses. Follow Queen Victoria's fitness guide.
I'm Snape.
Oh my! Workhouse was a used building built for very poor people to live and work. I forgot already.
He's not making lane!
I got it.
Oh no, he instantly started recording! Enjoy the next clip of The Workhouse, starring Jay, Craig, Tama, and myself, Lachlan.
Yeah! In the 1870s, schools were opened for ages 5 to 10. In Scotland, the school had been... Wait, who was sorry?
Oh my god, Chloe!
The National Health Service began soon after, so everybody, rich or poor, had access to health care. Many workhouses were used for hospital buildings.
Victoria became queen after George IV died in... He died in...
Wait, okay, let's start again.
Victoria became queen when King George V... I said 5th instead of 4th.
Okay. Children study 3 hours reading, writing, and arithmetic. If you're... And then walk away sadly. Like Jack. Wait, that's that. Children study 3 hours reading, writing, and arithmetic. Do it again.
So they wrote on the slate like enough for this.
Complaining,
That was rubbish.
Now for some dips.
Look out, man, there's an assassin!
And
Good morning, class.
Good morning, Mrs. Heckle.
One, drop it.